Hello and welcome to A1R Psychic Radio, and thank you for listening to the show. I'm sure we're going to have a great show, and I'm expecting 2 readers to call in and speak with me and have some readings. Isn't that great? You can find me on, GailMoffat.com, and also I'm on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can find me and chat with me if you like, and send me a message or speak to me. That would be nice. Anyway, I thought we could just sort of talk about a few things to start with. And I was thinking about how, there's a great interest in hauntings and ghosts and things like that. And I thought I could tell you a little story about one of my experiences of what happened to me. And what actually happened was I was working in Massachusetts, which is in New England, and I was asked to go and visit this old inn that I think dated back to the sort of the 1800s, so really quite old for America. And I was asked to go and sort of, investigate the top floors. It was currently being run as a bar just on the ground floor, and the upper floors were virtually derelict, but the ground floor was really nice. And what I found was that it was quite extraordinary, really, because I found there was this man that was resident, a spirit person resident in this inn, and he used to use it as a brothel. And so he kept a lot of the females who are spirit and kept them from passing over. And he was quite a bully and aggressive and sort of angry and really quite sort of nasty to us. And there was 2 of us that went there that were mediums. And I had to work for probably about 2 hours of trying to communicate with him and persuade him to sort of go off to the spirit world. And I kept on bringing in light towards him, and he at times he was very strong, but it was interesting because he was very much operating in darkness, and because I operate in the light, the closer that I got to him, the more he was sort of like repelled from me, and eventually he was unable to sort of keep this grasp, because I kept on throwing light on him, and and eventually he was taken away. But not, and also all the other women that were there, that were being used as prostitutes, were also taken away as well. And eventually, and what was really interesting is I went back to the bar later. It must have been about a week later, and they said, "Oh, do you want to?" I was very keen to actually go and look upstairs and just sense the energy, because everything is about energy. And so I remember going upstairs and thinking, "Wow, the energy is so much different." It was light, it was airy. Whereas when he was there, this dominant character, it was really dense and horrible. I'm sure there's people who are listening that, you've experienced where you go and walk into a home and you think, "Oh, I don't like this. Doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like a happy house." Or "I would never want to move in here because it doesn't feel right." And that's the feeling I got when I was there initially, before I started communicating with him. And he was very threatening as well. He would sort of threaten all sorts of nasty stuff to me, it was quite a challenge and quite a difficult experience, I would say, all in all. And so eventually what actually happened was that yes, as I said, he went over to the spirit world, and I went back, and the energy was really nice. And I spoke to my guides later, and I said, "What actually happened to him? What's and I've always believed that, there is, there's everything is open to every soul, you know, when you and they told me that because there was nothing that they could do with him, they couldn't make him good. There was no sort of, it was like they were unable to help him. And so they actually described it to me that they popped him down a black hole, and they described it like it was a hell for him. And I found that really sort of quite interesting, because I'd never ever heard of that. But I thought I'd just sort of share that with you, my experience. It just came to me 5 minutes before I was doing the show that I should share this experience with you because you may be interested in it. But anyway, I'm sure we need to go to some callers, and I know that we have Carol in Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, Canada. Are you there, Carol?
Yeah, this is me.
Hi, Carol, and how are
Speaking.
you this evening?
Not
Good.
bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I'm a medium, and I can connect to loved ones, or I can look at aspects of your life. Is there some way that you'd like me to particularly work?
Yes, and my son got killed. It'll be 5 years ago in April, and I'm just wondering. I'm getting a lot of signs from him. Like I see lots of orbs and everything, and dimes and everything around the house, and it's just a weird, strange way what happened to him when he died.
Yeah.
Like no one got any full answers of everything, right?
Right.
He was only 26 years old. He was 26.
That's really young, isn't it? That's so sad. I'm sorry for your loss. I cannot begin to imagine how awful that must be for you.
Oh, it was really hard.
Yeah. And probably still is. You know, you never get over that, do you, with losing a child?
No.
I think it's probably, it's not what you expect. But anyway,
especially the tragic way.
Yes,
it happened,
yes.
Right?
As we're talking, I'm sensing a young man coming forward, and I do feel that this is your son, and the very first thing that he's saying to me is, "Hello, Mum, I love you," and I know that's not evidential, but that's what he wants to say to you. I love you, and he's and normally I am sort of, you know, quite an evidential medium, and I look for evidence to prove, you know, that I have who I have. But he just wanted to say that to you, and you know, it's important, isn't it, that you hear those words, because that's what he's saying to me. And
he always worked away, and he always would say, "I love you, Mom," or message me, "I love you, Mom," or pocket dial me, or anything.
Yeah. So
he was a welder.
So it's not unusual for him to be like that as he comes through. And I just feel with him that there's a little tear in his eye, and I feel that he's getting a little bit emotional with me. And I know that this isn't because he's, you know, he's not liking it in the spirit world, because I don't believe that's the case. But what I think it is, it's just he's just feeling emotional at the possibility of being able to communicate with his mum. And he's saying to me, "I've waited for this time for so long, because I'm hazarding a guess. If you have been to a medium before, I'm hazarding a guess that the connection wasn't as good as you would have liked, or he would have liked."
Yeah.
Would that make sense to you?
I never saw one before.
Right,
yeah,
because he's saying, well, the words he said to me is, "I've been waiting for this moment for a long time," and obviously it's 5 years he's been waiting. And he's
5 years in April, yes.
Yeah. He's also saying to me that he's making me feel as though you celebrate his birthday.
Yes, I celebrated. I do balloons and everything for him with all the grandkids for his birthday.
Yeah, and he says that it's like you never forget the special occasions that are linked to him, and it's like his memory continues on. And he's also made me feel as though his photograph has been printed on something. I don't know whether it's a balloon or whether it's a T-shirt or something of that nature. There's a photograph that's been printed on something. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I have lots of photographs in my house. My whole wall is full of pictures of him.
Do you understand a photograph that's been printed on something? That's been like I don't know whether it's a T-shirt or a balloon or something that is, because he's making me feel like you've taken.
I do have a photograph on a Christmas bell.
Right, there you go.
I made a Christmas bell with a photograph on it.
There's been put onto something, and he likes that. He says he feels really sort of chuffed that you've done that. He really loves that.
I do it every year. I put it on the Christmas tree.
So it's a shape of a bell, but is there a little tinkle inside?
Yeah, it's a little tinkle on the top. It glows.
Right. Okay, because I get the feeling that he plays with it, or sometimes it may glow when it's not supposed to, or something like that. There's something that he does with it when you have it out.
Yeah, and he does lots of stuff. He does lots of stuff with electronics too.
Yeah.
With the computer one time. Yeah.
Right. He's telling me that he's quite clever. And he's he was clever when he was here on the Earth plane. And I feel that he was quite ambitious with his career and his work. And I feel that he had but he's making me feel that he had to he's making me feel as though he had to go to I keep on seeing sort of now. I know you live in Nova Scotia, so it's probably where you live. What he's showing to me. So, but I keep on seeing like it almost looks like makes me feel like I'm on the North Pole. Like I've got pickaxes and sort of and big sort of coats and stuff like that. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yes, it's freezing here today. It's minus 33. It's cold.
Ooh, minus 33. That is cold. But he's showing me that sort of like that really sort of cold weather. But he's also saying to me that he didn't mind that sort of weather. He's making me feel as though he actually quite liked the cold, and he actually quite liked the sort of change in the seasons and things like that. He says he's making me feel like people around him would complain about how cold it was or whatever, but he never didn't mind the cold. He's drawing my attention to his bedroom, and I feel that there are still some things that belong to him in his room.
Yes, I still have stuff saved.
Yeah, still got stuff out, and also he's drawing my attention to a female. Has he got a sister?
Yes.
Because I felt like it was his sister. He's drawing my attention to her, and he's making me want to say, please let her know that I'm all right. Because she often asks, it's almost as though his sister is praying, and please make sure that he is all right. My brother's all right, and so she's and it's and he's aware of that. And he wants to let her know that she's all right. That he's all right. Sorry, he's all right. Get my he's and she's muddled up.
His sister. Tell him his sister. just had a new baby, 6 months old. He's got a new nephew.
Wow.
And the baby looks like Matt, my son.
Right. He's saying to me that he has seen the baby, and he's talking about the baby. He's admiring the nose on the baby. Does the nose sort of like very sort of pressed up, like a real button pressed up nose? And he's admiring the nose, and he's sort of having a bit of a laugh about it. He makes me feel like he's got a great sense of humor and a great, like really sort of up for a joke and a bit of a laugh.
He had a good sense of humor.
Yeah, oh gosh, yes, very good. And also, I feel that he had a good sense of dress as well, because he's showing me some trousers that he's wearing, and I feel like he's admiring them. He's admiring his clothes and his dress sense. I feel like he dressed quite well. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Oh God, yes, he always dressed well.
Yeah,
he always dressed also, like nice dress shirts
And he's just sort of like he's leaning forward with me, and he's winking, and he says, "I a lot of the girls quite liked me too."
Oh yeah, he had lots of girlfriends.
Yeah, they all loved him because he had such a great personality.
The child wasn't born when he died. His son was born 4 months later.
Yeah, and
he never got to meet his son.
Oh dear, that's a shame. But he's making me feel as though he's making me feel as though lots of girls loved him and loved his company. He was very.
Hello?
I feel like he had a good sort of friendship base around him.
Hello?
So, hello, I'm still here. So I'm just going to. I feel the time is so short, isn't it? When we're doing these free calls. But what I could say to you is, I know it's just been very short and sort of real snippet of a reading, but do find me on Facebook and message me and just sort of connect with me and it'd be nice to hear from you and thank you for ringing in. And I'm so sorry for your loss. That's just one of the worst things to do to hear when somebody loses a child. So anyway, I have Alexa in Streetsboro, Ohio. Are you there, Alexa?
Yes.
Hi, Alexa, and how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. And so I'm a medium, and I can connect to loved ones in the spirit world, or I can look for guidance for you in your life. Is there a particular way that you would like me to work?
I was wondering if there's any buddies or anything on the other side, trying to reach out to me or anything.
Sure. Let's have a look. Okay. I feel that I have a grandfather here with you, and he's making me feel as though there was some difficulty in the family dynamics when he was alive. Would you understand that?
Maybe a great grandfather.
Right. Yes, could be.
I wasn't very close with him or anything.
Because I've got this gentleman, and he's making me feel as though there was sort of some distance with the family, and he's making me feel that he didn't always do right by the family. He sometimes would. It's like there was a rift in the family somewhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
and he feels like he's a bit of a fool. He's saying, you know, like he's rather ashamed of himself and wishes that he could have been a better person. He's rather almost like he's embarrassed of of how he behaved, and he's saying to me that if he had his time again, he would have. He would love to have been a different person, because since he's been in the spirit world, he's reevaluated his life and really looked at the way he's been and what he's done, and he's sort of almost embarrassed or ashamed of how he has been, and wants you to know that he wishes to. He wants you to know that he wishes to be a better person for you and for your family, and he seeks forgiveness for his actions, because he's telling me that his actions caused a ripple effect down the family, almost like the like what he did to his children affected the relationships that then went down and affected, and it just went all the way down. Would you understand that? Like, yeah. So there must be sort of insecurity coming down the line, and he's saying to me that he wholeheartedly holds his hands up and blames himself for his actions. He says, I should never have behaved the way I did, because he even sort of, he then takes it all the way down the line and says that you have suffered in effect by what he's done all the way up there. And he's saying to me that he's eager to put things right, eager to help people from the spirit world, and help his family and help his family become closer and more loving to each other, because that's something that he didn't do when he was alive. He was quite negative and difficult with people, and people found him not too easy to get on with, and as a consequence, as I said earlier, there was a lot of insecurity that passed down the generations. But he's promising you that he will, he wants to make things different for you. It's like he wants to stop the negativity that he's created in its tracks. And he wants to he's promising you that he's going to help you in your life, and he's going to support you. And wherever possible, he's going to almost like lift you up and give you optimism and feelings of love, and feelings of feeling happy and joyful, because he says to me that he understands that there has been some times of sadness for you recently, and he's making me feel as though he wants to wipe your eyes, because there's been some tears, and he says to me that from now on, if you're happy, he will be there for you, and he will help you and support you in your life, and make sure that you're always more uplifted.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense about him?
I guess I didn't really know him too well, so I don't know. But I guess the family stuff, I guess a little bit. Do you connect with animals?
I can, yes. Yeah.
Are there any animals on the other side that want to say anything?
Is there a particular animal that you'd like to see?
There's a dog that passed away in November 2017.
Right. Was the dog like a sort of a Labrador size?
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling it. And was it sort of like golden in colour?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have the dog with me. Was it a female dog?
Yeah.
Okay. She's making me feel as though she wasn't really allowed to come and sleep in the bedrooms, but she did at times.
Maybe she usually always did.
And she's making me feel as though she would regularly sleep with you. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah.
But she's making me feel as though other members of the family didn't want her to be like that, but they just gave in the end, because she would be quite persistent and sort of just trot in behind you. Because she's making me feel as though the dog was more your dog than anyone else's. Does that make sense to you? I feel there's a real strong connection between you and her, and she was although she lived in a family, she was very much connected to you.
Yeah.
And I feel that it was you would take it, she's making me feel that it was that you would generally sort of do all the looking after, like the walking and things like that. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Because I'm not sensing other people. It's like she's showing me it's you. And she's also making me feel like you would go wherever she would go, wherever you would go, you'd bring the dog, your dog with you. She was very much part of your life. So you wouldn't just leave her at home, you would take her off with you. Very much part of your life. This dog absolutely adores you. And also, I feel this dog is quite a licker, would regularly lick you. You know how like doggy kisses and they lick you? I feel that this dog would quite often lick you.